Tikame Mafrapo, and welcome to the Eana Mokri podcast. This is part 2 of our trailer analysis. We're just going to be going through the second half of the trailer now, and I hope you all enjoy.
Okay, next
now
shot.
For the next shot, where we have a couple of interesting characters.
Yep.
One extremely interesting character.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so on the right, we see Spider. Javier Spider Socorro, I think he's called. The adopted son of Jake and Neytiri, who is obviously human. And on to his left is what I assume is Lo'ak, one of the biological children of Jake and Ney, the second eldest son. And they are sneaking up on some avatars, protecting, I guess, what appears to be a linking unit we are still familiar with from the first movie.
Wait, they're sneaking up on. I didn't see any avatars there.
It's you gotta pause it like right at the end, but you could barely make out there's stuff back there.
Wow, how did anyone see that? Okay, yes.
Again,
how did anyone see that in this community?
Yeah.
We've been starved for content for
however
many years. That's how they saw it. I think Mako went through and extracted every single frame from the trailer.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
It's like needs probably a new external backup drive to store all the data.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that I see it in the background, it does look like a linking unit with some annoying sawtooth in front of it or something.
I think that is a linking unit, but it could be an entrance of some sort to a bigger facility. It's hard to tell from this shot alone, so...
Yeah, there's a lot of different things it can be.
And then the next shot is like completely different because we see two Na'vi instead of a Na'vi and Spider. Very confusing.
However, I think they're probably... Would you agree with me, Eana, that these are two of the Sully family as well?
Okay, so...
Because they have the hairy eyebrows, the more human-esque nose.
I mean, when we see the two Na'vi kids right after we see Spider and Lo'ak, I think those are from left to right Lo'ak and Kiri, because the young Na'vi on the right has the same facial pattern as Kiri does, and again hairy eyebrows and a very narrow bridge of the nose. So I think that's Lo'ak and Kiri. And I think the three of them are together inside the forest and sneaking up on these avatars.
Who we will now talk about because that's the next scene.
Yeah. So the guys we've seen earlier from a distance, we now see up close, and those are what I think. I mean, the first guy is pretty obviously Miles Quaritch as an avatar, and why I think that's him is because, I mean, just look at that face. The grumpy
he already looks pissed.
Facial expression, yeah.
He looks pissed to be there.
Yep.
Yeah, but I can tell you that was the scene where I thought in a cinema, when I saw it the first time, I mistook him for Jake. I thought,
Same.
He has the buzz cut again, and what's going on? So yeah,
same.
Similar.
Same. The first time I watched it, I thought too that this was Jake. Yeah, because there is some resemblance, definitely.
If we ever get a scene where it's called "No, Jake, I am your father," then I'm out.
Okay, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm leaving. I might walk out.
No, James Cameron won't do that, I don't think.
Okay. So, serious again.
But
Sorry.
yeah, okay. Yeah, so the haircut is the same as Miles Quaritch had as a human, and most obviously it's the exact same tattoo on his left upper arm.
Yeah.
So that's definitely Miles Quaritch, and I think the guy behind him...
I'm going to put $20 on there's going to be a scene in this where he gets scratched in the face by a Thanator. I'm gonna put $20 down on this.
Only 20?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm poor.
All good.
That would not shock me in the slightest as a callback, or at least some form of him getting a scar across his face that's similar.
Maybe, yeah.
Then the guy in the back, like you were saying.
Exactly, that's most definitely Lyle Wainfleet, who also died in the first movie. So these two guys died in the first movie, but somehow are back as blue
You might
people.
remember Wainfleet as the guy who ended up being a smear on a hammerhead's heel.
Yep.
A blue smear, you're saying?
No.
Yes, specifically a blue smudge, if you will.
Yeah, he was the military guy flying the science missions together with Trudy, and who yelled, "Yeah, get some."
I was gonna say he had the most memorable line, "Yeah, get some," which he said I think 3 times. The last of which was just before being smashed in the face. And so, as you might realize, both of these characters are dead. So we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look very alive here, so something happened.
That's been a huge amount of theory crafting that I've seen. So we knew for a long time that Stephen Lang was coming back as Miles Quaritch, which was a little bit shocking because we knew that Sigourney Weaver was coming back but wasn't playing Grace.
Mm-hmm.
And so the biggest question on everybody's mind was kind of how.
Yeah.
And I think the dominant explanation has been he comes back as some form of avatar, but we still don't know what happens, like how the transfer happened and everything. I think there's even been theories that it's just Eywa punking everybody and just being like, LOL, he's back now. I don't buy that one, but
no, not really, no. But yeah, these two guys are sneaking through the forest as well, armed to the teeth, looking pretty pissed, as if they are looking for somebody, because they seem to be on their own. I can't see anyone behind them. Maybe they are looking for Jake or something to get their revenge. I don't know.
I think my favorite part is, though, just the scene just after that.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're seeing Spider just about to just tear through something. That face is not a face of peace.
No. Very fierce. In this shot, where we see the 3 kids, I think it becomes even more apparent that Spider seems to be wearing some sort of war paint that seems to be mimicking what do you say, the skin patterns the Na'vi have.
The stripes, yeah.
Yeah, the stripes, right. I think that's what it is, but...
So he has to live like all life with this mask? Seems...
As far as we
annoying.
know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Spider is supposed to be an adopted child of the Sully family, basically. Born and raised on Pandora, much more interested in the leNa'vi than the humans. And I don't think anybody here would blame him.
No.
I was going to say, yeah.
Kind of the dream gig for a lot of people here in Kelutral.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this just made me wonder, like, humans are, what, like half the size of a fully grown Na'vi? So, I assume Spider would have a human-sized bow. Rather than a Na'vi-sized one.
Nah, he ain't no wimp. He's just gonna go for it.
Okay.
The arrows are spears to him. And I do want to bring up, this is something that has also been talked about, is that this teaser does not at a single point focus on the fact that he's a human and the other kids aren't. that is a huge plot point that I think most other directors and producers would immediately focus on in a trailer.
Yeah.
But they never touch it. Because, to be frank, I don't think anybody really cares. I mean, they're going to address it, but it's not the main focus of the film as far as I'm aware.
I mean, their siblings don't seem to care at all. I think to them, he's just one of them. No difference at all. And I think going off of the ages we know of the kids, of the Sully family, in this shot, with these 3 kids, I think Spider's actually the eldest.
That would also make sense given that he's not far off from the size of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we know Na'vi age or mature faster.
Next shot.
Yep. Kiri again.
Ilu.
Ilu, yeah, Ilu.
Ilu.
And more fish.
$20 says this is what that one article, or what the well, you said that was the Avatar book, right? The new one that just came out.
Yeah.
That said something about a coastal Ikran.
Yeah, exactly. The marine Ikran.
I was gonna say, because if it was a news site, I would have put $20 down that they were just talking about the Ilu.
You're putting a lot of money on this trailer.
Yes.
So if you just frame forward to like the moment until like the Elo's face is right on the top right of the screen, I love how derpy the Elo looks.
Oh yeah, he is happy to be there. It's adorable.
In his element, yep.
Yeah.
Like a fish in water.
I think I've stopped on the absolute perfect frame.
I think all frames are perfect around that area.
So definitely a very cute animal, and same as an Ikran. I mean, it is described as for the Metkayina, it's the Elo is what the Ikran is for the Omaticaya, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just got the picture posted by Awe. Yes,
it's
very
great
derpy
because
Elo.
it looks like he has tiny fins.
And huge eyes.
I think that's what makes it. But it is adorable.
Yeah,
And then in the next shot,
Okay,
We've
Willow
officially reached
wants to go to
we've-
bed.
well, we officially reached the 1 minute mark, and we still have 37 seconds to go, which will probably take at least an hour.
Right.
But I really like it for the next shot because we finally get the actual circular things back, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the circular
Yeah.
stone structures.
Some floating mountains. So it's clear that this is probably a Tree of Souls-esque location.
Yeah.
Yep,
if I had
it
to
must
guess.
be. It must be a sacred place to the Metkayina, yeah.
So do we know
also-
how this works? Like there's like in the first movie we have like a Tree of Souls, Tree of Voices, but they are probably not unique, right? There's probably these kind of trees all over Pandora. Do we know how that works?
In terms of in what sense? Like there being multiple?
I would assume there are multiple because otherwise one would assume that
Yeah.
all the clans come to the Omaticaya for like, using the one tree.
Yeah, and that would be a little crazy. I would say, as far as I know, there should be multiple. In the analogy of Eywa being a biological internet,
Mm-hmm.
those would be kind of like the server rooms, like the main uplinks.
The Bitcoin farms.
Yeah. No, that's the RDA.
Yeah, the moment that someone starts an Eywa coin, I'm out.
Thanks for giving us our next idea for our April Fools.
Oh no.
2, 4, 5. So it's 5 Na'vi entering this like sacred place, I would say. This Swatun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, something interesting I just noticed. There's a distinct coloration difference.
Mm-hmm. You mean in the skin?
The Metkayina seem to be a lot brighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're more turquoise, yeah.
Which makes sense if you want to be camouflaged underwater.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I mean, it's not like the Omaticaya are very well camouflaged in the forest, but...
But they are, though.
Green and blue.
Because they are a darker blue, so in the darkness of the canopy, they can hide much better in the shadows.
Okay.
The Metkayina don't have that, so they'd be hunting in water more often.
Let's go back to the second scene of the trailer and see if we can spot Neytiri.
Time for the frame by frame. No.
Here I noticed, again, concept art. There was one piece where this scene almost exactly was presented with the...
I love just from a filmmaking perspective, I love this shot.
Yeah.
Because the circular formations form perfectly with Polyphemus in the back.
Yeah. At first, I thought it was just a sun flare, but then, I noticed that it's actually Polyphemus. Interesting, very interesting.
It's so pretty.
Also, it quite nicely aligns with rule of thirds, I would say. Like the focus point of the circles.
I agree. The mountains are the floating mountains, quote unquote, are very different here too. They're more like floating islands.
Yeah, again. Mm-hmm.
And they have like a more porous structure in them. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that's indicative of water erosion of certain types of rock, because it like eats away the sediment more than the more tightly packed rocks, so you get like these pits.
Also, I just realized we're actually looking at a solar eclipse here, right? Because technically the sun / one of the stars we're looking at is behind Polyphemus, probably.
Yeah, in a sense.
Just peeking behind it.
Although I think that might happen once a year.
Yeah, Polyphemus seems so big that... I don't know about the astronomy of the scene here, but Pandora is a bit wild for day and night and planetary cycles, right?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware.
All right, next scene.
It doesn't help, but the scenes are literally like half a second long at this point, so...
which shows us that
went like 1 second further.
That the pace is increasing. Which is also, I mean, it is a kind of storytelling in this. Although we don't get much from the trailer, there is still some kind of a storytelling in them, right? So
indications at the very least.
Yeah.
The next scene, my favorite part is Neytiri just creeping in the background on the right there.
Oh yeah, indeed.
So, Mayana, this is this also Lo'ak, or is this what's the name of the other one?
Neteyam.
Okay, so we also assume that this is Lo'ak.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Same facial structure and facial stripes.
I see.
As
ran facial recognition on all of this.
Yeah.
But it seems to be part of a very intense scene, because Jake doesn't look happy.
Nope.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly.
Yeah.
But I think the next scene is even more interesting, because this is, if I remember correctly, the first glance of we get a Kate Winslet's character, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ronal.
Yeah. And here we see that the skin texture is definitely different. It's more, as you said, turquoise, or more into the green hues.
It's more water-like, I'd even say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even the stripes look more like light being broken by the surface of water.
Yeah.
Or scattered.
It is very wave-like. It's not as... I mean, it's patterned, but not quite as patterned.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And yeah, again, tattoos very reminiscent of these the style of the Maori.
Yeah.
She's the Tsahik, right?
Must be.
Yeah, it seems
Must
like
be.
it,
I mean,
yeah.
look at her jewelry.
Yeah, and she's got the little blood needle on the necklace there.
Oh, that's true. Right.
But it's a shell. It's in like a shell case instead of a wooden case. And of course, Kate Winslet being from Titanic, another, small indie film you might have heard of.
I've still never watched Titanic, I have to confess.
Oh, well, kjempesinger.
Titanic is probably most famous for starting the meme that Leonardo DiCaprio does not win Oscars.
And it's also the source of the meme. It's been 84 years.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there's
eye
a
color.
Metkayina child too.
Eye colors. Ronal has greenish eyes, looks like. And then in the next shot we see Tsireya with very blue eyes.
I don't believe there was that much diversity in that in the first film, right?
Not at all.
Most of it was golden.
Yeah.
Texture, copy, paste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Copy and paste.
I mean, the comparison between cat-like or feline features and the Na'vi were drawn before, but is the idea also that they change their eye color from younger to more mature Na'vi?
I don't know.
I don't know, because this is something that this would be purely speculation.
What strikes me in this scene is that they her little stars, her tanhe, look very much like jewels almost to me, as if they were sprinkled across her face. Just
I was gonna mention that. You know what it looks like a lot like to me? It looks a lot like sand.
yeah, that's true.
Because you usually, with sand, you have bits and pieces that are a little bit more reflective than others, and you get that sparkliness. I don't know if that's just me coming up with random stuff.
No, the image is definitely there, because I noticed it not in the version that is on YouTube, but the one that is actually 4K. You see that it was so visible that those shining, those little stars almost like come out of and are just almost like placed on the skin, like sand.
They're very deliberate. Yeah. So then on to the next scene here. We have the man and beast imagery going on.
Yeah. And the first words by Jake. I love this scene. Especially the second one where you just see the silhouette against the sun shining through the surface of the water. I love that scene. Maybe probably because I love swimming and I love water, but this is absolute wonderful masterpiece.
So what animal is this?
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah, that's the question.
A tulkun.
It's a tulkun.
Yeah.
99%
that's the current
sure.
theory. And for those wondering, Tulkun comes from the rumored title for the third movie.
Or fourth, I don't know. The Tulkun rider. Yeah, and this animal is not a Nalutza. It's I'm pretty sure Tulkun. So.
But that's interesting because this is clearly a sea animal, and I had like the impression, which might be wrong, that all the movies would maybe be somewhere else, like in a different biome on Pandora. Or this one's water. We have had rainforest, maybe one polar. Like that was just my personal idea. So,
well, let's concentrate on the second.
I mean, I think there's gonna be some. If I had to guess, there's gonna be definitely references to the other biomes. And I'm bringing this up, and I'm kind of belaboring the point because James Cameron also has spoken specifically about this. Most sci-fi has the issue of single biome planets. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but Earth has more than one biome. So there's no reason to suspect that other planets would have a single biome covering the entire planet.
Yeah.
And he specifically talked about how Pandora is, like Earth, a very diverse planet with many ecosystems.
But I think if I try to recall what the map of Pandora looked like in the first game, not that this is canon or something, but it was.
That's a deep dive.
Pretty much.
No
Imagine the game's canon.
No.
I'm imagining one game canon and it's not out yet.
It's like very oceany Pandora overall. It's way more ocean and way more scattered land surface. Not so concentrated like on Earth. We have these big continents on our planet, but Pandora has way more than our planet has, connected by the ocean. So I wouldn't see that as a contradiction, that the fourth movie apparently is supposed to be called the Tulkun Rider, because you could ride on a whale or something to the polar region or something.
That's true, and as anybody who has ever built a computer knows, the core needs to be cold. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I find it a nice hypothesis that it would be a Tulkun, but I think there's not that much evidence to support it.
Oh no, this is all speculation. We've pulled 2.5 hours out of content out of a 1 minute 30 second
analyzing
trailer.
like 2 frames per second now.
I've been playing it at 25% speed. I don't know what y'all are doing, but
new title for Eana is Chief Theorist Correspondent.
yeah, she's the chief conspiracy correspondent.
Yeah.
CCC,
All right.
the triple C.
All we can say: water, Na'vi, and an unknown sea creature. Next one.
Next one, nice color scheme.
Although I will point out it's not a leNa'vi.
I'm sorry. What?
It's an avatar.
Wait, what? Back to the last scene.
I'm pretty sure I'm counting 5 fingers.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that's Loak.
yeah, but
It's a kid of Jake.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
Oh God! Now we go into the biological.
Yeah,
what
that's a
genes
dominant
are
gene, maybe.
prominent, or dominant. Yeah. Okay, let's not go there today.
Okay.
I'll have my wife guest star on the podcast, and she'll talk about the biology. Anyways, that would actually be really interesting.
Is this
to have.
do I see this correctly that there's only one kuru or tsween on the sea animal?
No, he has two.
He has to. Okay,
Yeah, the second one's
I
hidden
see.
in the
Okay.
silhouette.
but because that would also be a first, right? Except for the leNa'vi, I think all animals have, at least that can connect via the Q, have always two.
Really?
Both
Does
Yeah.
it matter if you connect to the left or the right one?
That's an interesting question.
Can two different people connect to the two ones at the same time?
Ooh, that's an even more
I've
interesting
never thought about this.
you want to talk about being a third
Oh my
wheel.
God.
Poor animal.
Oh, it's getting late. We'll see it.
Next scene. I love the color scheme in this scene. Like the
Yeah,
the
that's-
very cyany blue in the water, and then the fire colors.
Yeah,
And also purples in the garments and stuff like that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very beautiful. And
I like the torches. They're very conch shell-esque.
Oh yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
even see that.
and our first look at Donowari, right?
Sran.
The Olo Ektan of the Metkayina. Yeah.
Exactly. Played by Cliff Curtis.
Yeah.
And also, I think our first pregnant leNa'vi that we've ever seen,
Mm-hmm.
In
which is
official
Yeah.
scenes. Yeah.
yeah, officially.
If you don't count the deleted scenes of the first movie,
Yeah.
it's the first
Yeah.
pregnant lady, and that's Ronal as well.
Which is a big thing because I know that was a point of discussion that I've had a couple times because everybody wants to know all of the weird things.
Yep.
You mean the procreation and stuff like that?
Yep, that's a discussion that's happened several times.
I'm out of that discussion.
I've heard multiple different takes on it, but this seems to confirm that they're basically mammalian.
Mammalian. So they don't lay eggs?
Well, even more than that they're similar to placental mammals, which is, they could have been, for all we knew, at the time, they could have been like kangaroos and have a pouch somewhere.
Oh, that's true.
Which would be weird, but...
Yeah, hard to hide, especially under the loincloth, but okay.
Yeah,
Right.
But, there's a lot that was kind of open.
Yeah.
Because it's not been directly addressed until now.
True.
Still isn't really directly addressed, but there's more evidence for it now.
What I noticed in the background, the two Na'vi that stand directly behind Ronal and Tonowari, what is that?
It's like their sternum.
Yeah, sternum and the chest area is so pronounced that's also different from Omaticaya, right?
Not exactly. I mean, if you look at Tsu'tey, and take him as an example, his chest basically looks more or less the same, I would say.
Really? I thought the bone structure is not that pronounced.
Honestly, I was with you on that. And my thought process was sleekness. It's not dissimilar to similar structures on fish, for example.
Yeah.
Which tend to help them move through the water, which would make sense for, a water-dwelling clan.
Yeah.
I mean, the only difference I could see there would be the ribcage arch is protruding a little bit more compared to the Omaticaya, but the sternum structure, like the tendons that connect to the breast chest muscles, are more or less the same.
I agree. I think we're focusing more on that arch down there.
Okay, I see. And it's the first time I noticed the kid, the little child standing next to these guys you just mentioned. I never saw him
me too.
or noticed it.
In fairness, she is hiding behind a flaming torch.
Yeah.
So some kind of ceremony, probably.
Yeah, this seems to be like some kind of prayer scene of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then the people jump into water scene.
Now, this is clearly on... We've known for a while that there would be some kind of fishing or whaling boats. This seems to be on one of those because there's open ocean out that you could see outside, and a lot of those boats, especially ones that have the ability to do some deep sea exploration, have these pits in the middle.
Yeah.
Granted, this also looks like it's sinking, so...
That Spider and... any theories who the other Na'vi is that jumps into the water?
I would put my money on that it's Lo'ak, yes.
Okay, so they jump into that pit in the middle.
I mean, it's pretty hard to tell, but going off of the armband that he's wearing, I would say it's Lo'ak, but of course it could be Neteyam as well.
Well, Lo'ak clearly has the better form. Because, I mean, look at that. Just look at that dive.
Yep.
As
we are giving points now for diving. Yeah. Okay, good.
9 out of 10.
So,
yeah.
It's the scenes are getting more dramatic.
Yeah.
Going into the next thing.
Yeah. This is a nice close-up, and it's got his trademark grimace.
Mm-hmm.
A kind of... when I first watched the trailer, this is kind of what sealed it for me. Or I was like, okay, that's probably who that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, same tattoo. That's, I don't know, just gives him away, I would say.
It could also be his twin brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody got twins in this.
No, okay. So, but otherwise, not much happening in the scene, except that it's also either on the vessel or on a at least RDA or human structure.
Yep.
Yep, next shot. We see a very upset and sad Lo'ak next to what I think is Neytiri's head and Jake's hands.
And smoke in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So
Foreshadowing.
Very Destruction of Home Tree-esque.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Reminded me of the scene where Neytiri finds her father, who's dying. So maybe this is a similar scene where someone is dying or severely injured or has died already, and they're just very sad about that.
I mean, Jake's clearly severely injured.
Yeah, going into the next scene, yeah, that's true. That is something that I didn't notice as well until I read Eana's description and dissection of the scene, and I said, "Oh, there's blood." I've never noticed that. Yeah, but it's true.
Yeah, so we do have red blood. I think we also knew this before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through tsu'tey, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That, and it's sourced as far as I know that it's the oxygen transfers the same.
Right.
Again, I just had this discussion like a few days ago.
Okay. So the next one is on the shoreline, and Jake is pulling Spider and probably Lo'ak, Eana.
Mm-hmm.
To him.
Now, who dat in the bottom there?
I think either Kiri or Tsireya, who we haven't talked about yet at all. even though we saw her.
The reason I ask that is because, as far as I could tell, the hairstyle is pretty different from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, that's why I think this is actually Kiri, because she has loose hair and two braided strands in the front.
Yeah.
And also
that would make sense.
The head size looks too big for Tsireya, because Tsireya is younger, definitely, and has a smaller head, I would think. So yeah, maybe she is on an ilu or kneeling over somebody or just sitting. I don't know.
So here we also have a nice example of like CGI mixed with real life action footage, which Avatar 1 already did really well with Neytiri and Jake scene in the end. I think this one is again done very well. Like you don't see any abnormalities in shading, I think.
You really don't. It's very well done.
Like especially the close-up scene, like the next one, right? The face close up. Like notice how the mask actually kind of reflects the blue.
Yep.
Now, that's definitely a little easier to do because the masks are computer generated.
Oh, really?
The glasses. At least it was in the first one.
I've read that at some point. Huh.
Yeah, if you look at some of the deleted scenes where they're wearing the exopacks, there's no glass where that is, which makes sense because if you had that there, then the microphone recording would sound terrible.
And also, of course, you would have to need the reflections to the virtual environment. But on the other hand, try to track that in, right? Try to have the glass exactly in the right place in the virtual environment. In the, I guess, actually physical holder. Seems extremely difficult.
Exactly.
I'm also now seeing randomly that Na'vi apparently have blue fingernails, which I didn't know. It makes sense, but I didn't know.
Yeah, it's
Random late night Eana Mokri facts.
And I just noticed that Spider's Exopex has RDA, so which would make sense. So since he's from Hell's Gate, that's something maybe they took for him along.
Yeah. And as we know, there's at least some amiable relationships happening with the humans that stayed at Hell's Gate and the Na'vi. They're at least trying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the comic, The Next Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty well told. Yeah.
We have some episodes about that too.
Yeah.
If you want more, after this.
They're significantly shorter.
I just want to, before we move on, I just want to point out real quick that Jake and Spider seem to be the only guys, people, whatever, wearing dreadlocks in there. And my guess would be that Spider, for whatever reason, decided to wear them, and Jake then decided to do the same to support him, maybe because he has been a literal human on Pandora and knows how that feels, being the alien among blue people. So maybe there's some issues going on there, and he just wants to support his adopted son this way.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that as a possibility for sure. Next scene.
Action.
Waterslide!
I mean, I think.
I mean, you ain't wrong, but
was also my thought, by the
Marco-
way. So
Yeah. Okay.
it's not that weird.
I think in the Calutral dissection of the trailer, Marco said something about the facial expression. But is that supposed to be ironic because they're clearly trying to escape a very dangerous situation, and I can't imagine that even this little kid would say, "Hey, that's fun."
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think it's just grimacing because, oh my god, panic, what, help.
yeah, and bracing just to hit a wall.
So we have Neytiri, and who do we think that this little character is?
Tsireya. Ney's and Jake's youngest daughter.
Okay.
Youngest and only daughter.
Tsireya, okay. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to escape a dangerous situation with incoming water. So Titanic 2.0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I noticed that the what is that in English? The little stars, the shining things.
Like highlights?
Bioluminescent dots.
Yeah, I stay with Danhe. The Danhe are very also very prominent on Neytiri's face, right? I've never noticed them, so
That's an interesting point because, as far as I remember, I've heard that they respond to emotion.
Yep.
Really? Okay, I've never heard that. Oh, okay.
So it could be in a instance of extreme stress, they, brighten significantly.
Ah, interesting. No, I never heard that before. Okay.
And if you look closely at the scene, you see the same headband on Neytiri's head here, which you saw earlier on the head next to Lo'ok when he was sad. So that's also why I thought that this is Neytiri.
Yeah.
Next to him.
Okay. And another theory for the biology lesson, Tsireya has 4 digits.
Yeah, Na'vi hands. Exactly, yeah. Like her mom.
Now that's interesting. Biologists, get on that. We need answers, damn it.
I don't think they will.
Any biologists in the audience? Please call us at...
I don't think that they will go into that, but I could imagine that, especially those those physical features like fingers, and I mean Jake is an avatar, but if the kids already or children also have those distinguishing features, whether they are accepted into the clan or into the children's life would be another interesting possibility, but I don't think they will mention that in the movie at least.
Yeah, as far as I know, the only true understanding we have of anything genetic wise comes from the games, so I don't particularly trust it. So
Next one.
Tranquility.
Yeah.
So
I like this scene.
Yeah.
I loved it as well. Yeah.
And the upside down aspect is like confusing at first.
yeah, it is a really cool scene.
Again, Loak, I think, right?
Strana.
Yeah. Who is swimming
And-
with the unknown sea creature.
Yeah, just enjoying life, huh?
Yeah.
Contact was successful, and
A really cool example of the underwater motion capture.
We haven't even talked about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned the whole facial tracking was a huge feature of the first Avatar. That was the huge technological advance. The huge advance in this one is underwater motion capture, which, if you've ever looked at the surface of water, you know will be extremely painful because things seem to move a lot. But apparently they figured out a way to make it work.
didn't they add like these little white balls to the pools they were filming in, so that the water surface wouldn't distract too much from what is happening under the surface, basically, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. I bet they also used it. I'm wondering if that's how they're getting such good water simulations, too. I bet they used that as a form of motion capture.
Maybe.
Because there's like small ripples. You would never have seen that even a few
I
years
guess
ago.
that's also just a function of throwing Weta's big computers at it. Like water simulation is indeed, as we were saying, I think 1.5 hours ago, just a massive equation that you're solving. So the more computers you throw at it, the better it goes.
Well, water simulation is even harder because the equation that we use for fluid dynamics doesn't have a solution. You can't solve it.
Navier-Stokes, right?
You have to do it numerically.
And then it's like
Navier-Stokes
that
equation.
non-linear crap that I at some point had a partial differential equation course about, and then I forgot promptly all about it, except that I know that when I try to do fluid simulations in Blender, it always takes ages and it looks like crap because I still didn't take long enough for it to render.
Yep, it's those Navier-Stokes equations.
The Navier-Stokes equations.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they used. All right, next. We have what seems to be a lineup for battle.
Yeah, with Tonowari and Ronal in the foreground.
And Tonowari looking very serious.
Pretty badass, yeah.
Yes.
Their spears are freaking awesome.
Oh, Milde.
Like
Two prong, 3, 4. Yeah, I also noticed that.
they got the Darth Maul thing going on.
Oh, Willem doesn't know Star Wars, so he won't get that joke.
I have to become the non-pop culture reference correspondent.
The spot is open. You can
I only know Na'vi, the correspondent.
Now, I will say, though, I think this appears to be a very serious situation.
Yeah.
Because Ronal is up fighting.
Yep, and she's pregnant.
And she's clearly pregnant. So, and I think pretty much any person you ask would tell you it's a bad idea to send someone who's pregnant into war. But I don't know. I'm not an expert.
I'm not an expert.
What I also really liked was in this shot is Tonowari's garment, because the leader red, which looks more like orange in here, but it's just says, okay, this is the clan leader, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And also the I lack the word for it, but the things they put on their mounts, the ilus, similar to what the Omaticaya use for their ikran, to make flying or riding on them easier and adorn them.
Yeah, the like saddles.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, those are going to be waterproof.
But it seems like that it goes through at least those two clans, that the color red definitely denotes a clan leader, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Next one.
Next scene. I think that's the one that sparked a lot of debate, like concerning if this is actually a CGI scene or a real scene.
Yep.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine that it is not CGI, but it looks very realistic.
It looks so real. The water, the reflection, the wrinkles on the hands.
And on the leather. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, like even the close-up, you're seeing like very small splashes and ripples.
Mm-hmm.
Even the first Avatar didn't have that. Like if you looked at the water simulation, that's like the one thing that you could point to as maybe just not quite perfectly realistic, but now it's pretty much perfect.
Also, the way that the water interacts with the leather strap, the way that it sticks to it, seems extremely realistic to me.
Yeah, the like adhesion going on there.
Yeah.
Well, it would be really funny if it turned out to be
That's
a real
not
life shot.
easy to simulate.
And, they just painted someone's arms blue, and
for me, it's interesting. I mean, apart from the fact to show off that realistic CGI, right? It's interesting that they include such a one would say minor detail, like a close up of a hand into a trailer, right? But for the fact that to show off the CGI, it's understandable then.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is obviously Jake's hand. Human amount of digits. And
even more examples of the absolutely insane, like I don't even know what to call it, like skin fold texturing.
Mm-hmm.
like bump mapping.
And if you think, the subsurface scattering with just skin is difficult, now make it wet.
Mm-hmm.
This is the technical term, wet subsurface scattering.
They had to challenge themselves, so...
They had 13 years.
Yeah. That as well.
Yeah, that's also fair.
I mean, we would be disappointed if there wasn't some advancement, right? At least of some form.
We're going back to Muppets and models and...
Avatar 2, stick figure edition.
Practical effects.
Yes.
Stop motion.
Don't get me wrong, practical effects, when done well, look great because they are great. They're perfectly realistic. But even then, like, if you're doing model stuff, models only work to a certain point.
Yeah.
Because...
Scale and so on.
You're only scaling the size of the object. You're not scaling the rest of the laws of physics. So, like, if you drop something that's small, it's going to fall different.
And the next scene?
Now we have this thing jumping out of the water.
Yeah.
Jake jumping onto it.
Very
again.
Toruk-esque, because that's the color of its wings. This is one hell of a flying fish.
Flying crocodile almost.
Yeah, it looks to have a crocodile mouth.
Yeah.
Alligator, crocodile, I don't know the difference.
And also a new creature, correct me if I'm wrong, but never seen or heard that before, right?
Maybe this is a Tulkun.
Could be.
Also, I'd like to point out that Jake has a freaking war axe.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And I don't care who you are, if there's a war axe coming at you, it's gonna hurt.
I'm sure if I wield it, not. But yeah.
I mean, it'll hurt. It just depends who it hurts.
Sure.
Because if I wield it, it'll probably hurt me.
Exactly.
But
what I find interesting is that, I mean, it is reminiscent. The creature, I mean, is reminiscent of certain earth animals that or fish that can fly and swim, but it stays in the water for quite a while and uses its fin tail to steady itself, right? So it can't fly on its own, apparently.
yeah, it's almost like just an aerial strike in a sense.
Yeah. So, very interesting creature. All right, last two scenes.
All the pores.
Still looking at the pores.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah, pores.
So many pores.
I mean, at some point it's just like some kind of brushing and drawing program, right? I don't think they added them one by one.
Oh no, it's texture mapping. It's something that's relatively new where because textures in games and stuff usually refer to things that just look like texture but aren't true texture. This is pure texture mapping where they're actually putting a physical texture on the surface. But the thing that makes it most interesting is that it's very, very real.
Yeah. Also, the eyes again. It's not look more like amber color to me, not like the yellowish that we see in the first movie.
Although if we look in the second half of the scene there is something orangish behind.
Yeah, of course.
Attention to detail, more eye reflections.
Speaking of texture, that's something that I noticed on Neytiri's face is the little. It's not even a scar, I think, but over her eye is like a small imperfection of the skin, just so again so detailed.
Like a little bit of like skin pitting, yeah. Could be a scar. I mean, just like a superficial scar, but yeah. Another thing that's crazy in terms of detail, Jake's hair has loose strands in it.
Mm-hmm.
That is insane. Like, I don't know, just the realism is insane. There's so much work being done to make it look as realistic as possible.
Definitely. And the end of the sentence that goes through the whole trailer, which we are now hoping we get a translation of at some point.
Mm-hmm.
This family is our fortress.
And we know that family is going to be a huge theme in the next 4 movies.
That was the only dorky thing I thought in the cinema was, family. So we're going for a Fast and Furious now. That was the only thing that I had.
But in fairness, they named the thing everybody wants to get in the first movie unobtainium. So, like...
Yeah, well...
It's the things that look really, really cheesy on the surface, but then when you dig into them, you're like, oh, actually, that makes a lot of sense.
So, did we actually do it? Are we
through
it after?
We're still missing the final title, which interestingly I found has the Avatar musical theme over it.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, true.
I'm not going to sing it, but just go to 1 minute 31 of the trailer and you can hear it.
The Way of Water.
And I will mention that our own Duna Yayo, who has been featured on the podcast before, noticed that they changed the theme very subtly.
Mm-hmm.
They changed the theme?
Also?
So they changed the musical mode that it's in. And in straightforward terms, the mode of a piece, the musical mode of a piece, is basically where the home note of the scale is.
Mm-hmm.
The original Avatar uses it in what's called the Lydian mode, and all it really means is that it gives it a bit of an otherworldly feel to it. This trailer reharmonized it into Mixolydian mode, which interestingly is used a lot in jazz and blues.
Wait, are we talking about the final 7 seconds, or about the rest of the soundtrack in the trailer?
As far as I'm aware, all of it.
So in general, I found the music in the trailer pretty different from the one used in Avatar 1, except for the final part. Yeah, there's similar themes in it, right? I'm listening to it again, of course.
Yeah.
Only in the end, with the final 7 seconds, it was okay, this is really the Avatar theme again. And there, I didn't hear any difference in terms of harmonization. But
that one might be. I haven't gone through and done the analysis myself. This was all based off of what Duna Yayo said.
I cannot say anything about the rest of the trailer because I think it sounds very different. But I mean, obviously, if you actually know music theory well, then I can imagine that there's probably similarities everywhere. For the last 6 seconds, I'm there's not really any harmony, right? It's only they only do the piano-like notes that form the melody. So I find it hard to get any harmony there. But again, maybe if someone who actually knows music theory listens to it, it makes more sense.
Yeah, that one's more of a melody, so it's harder to say that it's in a particular mode because the mode kind of comes out of the harmonization. And a melody can be out of any key.
They've kind of tweaked the rhythm a little bit, but I mean, I think that's the piece of being a theme of a movie, right? I think the original theme appears 20 times in the original movie in different shapes, slow, fast, different keys.
And I mean, if you listen carefully to the music throughout the trailer, it uses the same melody as a bass. And then it builds off of it in a different harmonic way, and I think that's what Tayo was referring to.
Yeah, indeed. I'm now listening for the 20th time. I was saying in the beginning of this podcast that I had seen it only a few times, so I didn't want to spoil the actual experience. Of course, now we have seen it 50 times in slow motion, and then it's frames and everything, and kind of failed that plan, but still, it was nice analyzing it.
And yeah, so that's the trailer.
Only took us, 3 hours?
Yeah, well, so 3 hours?
So I think we literally did 1.5 frames per second. But yeah, this was fun. So now I think we need to go to the second topic, which is the comic.
Oh, we will do that.
So you guys said you wanted to do leNa'vi practice now, right?
Yeah. I guess
I think we'll leave it at that for today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's a great idea.
With that was our podcast. I guess all we can say now is we're all excited for the film to come out, and
hell yeah.
Hi, eywa'eveng.
Hello, bye.
Hi, eywa'eveng.
Hi, eywa'eveng.